Good morning. My name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting the latest updates from Kuya Silver, which trades on the Canadian Stock Exchange under the symbol KUYA. Joining me once again is Kuya's President and CEO, David Stein. David, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much, Megan. Happy to be here.
So, David, for our listeners who are new to the Kuya story, could you give us a brief introduction to the company?
Sure. We've got two flagship silver projects. The more advanced one is our Bethania silver mine in Peru that we acquired a few years ago. We've been de-risking it over the past few years and also expanding the exploration story there. And we're now very excited to be in the position to put it back into production over the next few months. And then we also have the Silver Kings project, Northern Ontario, Canada, and it's a similar, very high grade, kind of smaller tonnage project that can go into production very quickly. It's an earlier stage exploration project for us, but very, very exciting as well. And we've had some great discoveries there, especially earlier this year with our drill program.
Now, it's been a busy 4 weeks for the company, starting with earlier last month, where you announced a toll milling agreement with a nearby processing facility to your Bethania project. Could you walk us through the details of this announcement?
Sure. We basically have been able to strike a deal with our next door neighbor, the equivalent of a next door neighbor in mining terms, only 20 kilometers away by road. And it's a mill, in fact, that the previous owners had used as well. So we have some familiarity with the process and the product there that we'll be getting from our ore. So it's a really great situation for us. We're really pleased. It's helped in terms of moving forward with getting our offtake agreements as well. So that was a pretty critical step. Although we have had other opportunities to do toll milling. This is the one that will give us the lowest cost and also less risk because of that familiarity. So it's a really, really important deal. And while we can produce there for the next several years, and in a better market, we still have the opportunity. We're fully permitted to build our own mill at site at some point as well.
So on the production side, would this facility be able to handle Kuya at full production, or would you consider this more small scale to generate revenue?
So in fact, this mill can support our full production plan, at least what was envisaged for what we would call our starter operation in the PEA. 350 tons per day. They can actually do that whole amount. And what that means is that we can, again, focus on getting into production, making cash flow, and then looking at ways to expand there with that option to build our own plant down the road is an option that we'll continue to have.
So for our listeners, because I'm sure many want to know, when do you think you can begin production at Bethania?
So I think we are, we're within, months away now. We've budgeted about 3-4 months of underground development before we would start pulling the first ore. And then, we would start stockpiling ore, sending it to the mill, and then we would have concentrate, a few weeks after that. So, in the next 6 months or so, we could be selling concentrate, and, middle of next year, that's realistic. It's looking really good now, and that's kind of the rough timing, I would say, but we're talking about months now.
So let's now fast forward to earlier this week, where the company announced strategic investment from Trafigura. Can you discuss the key points to the release and the role Trafigura will play going forward?
Yeah, so we produce concentrates at the Bethania mine. The vast majority of our revenue is going to come from one concentrate, which is our silver lead concentrate. The silver and the lead go together when in the production plan. And then we also will produce zinc and possibly another copper concentrate as well. So really important that we get obviously a buyer for that up front. And there's a whole market in terms of buying concentrates, blending them with other mines, and then selling them to the end users all over the world. So Trafigura is a big player in that, and we are, and they're a big player in Peru particularly, and we're very pleased to be able to partner up with them here. The investment that they're making is significant in Kuya. It's an equity position, so it really aligns them well with our other shareholders and in management, and so it's really an ideal situation to get the mine going again.
More recently, you announced a non-broker private placement through the listed issuer finance exemption, also known as a life deal. Can you walk us through this type of finance, as it is new for the Canadian issuer in 2023?
Yeah, this structure is less than a year old, and it essentially allows smaller companies like ourselves to kind of take advantage of something similar to what would be producing a prospectus. Which really only bigger companies can afford to do these days. It's a much more laborious process on just the legal regulatory side to produce a prospectus, and so it sort of keeps companies out of that, smaller companies like us out of that market. This allows for a limited amount to be raised, free trading shares. In our case, we announced 2.25 million minimum deal, and otherwise it's very similar to any other financing mechanism that that we do in the Canadian public markets, but it's just it's sort of a bridge between a private placement, which has the hold period, and the full prospectus, which is for the most part the domain of bigger companies.
Now, to wrap things up, can you give a recap of what investors can look forward to from the company in the next 6 to 9 months?
Yeah, well, obviously, getting Bethania into production will be a big, focus and catalyst for us. And what's great about that is we think we can go from, first revenue to, making, profit very quickly there within a few months, and then from there it should just keep, building and building for us. So it's really a great opportunity to reclassify Kuya in terms of jumping up into that producer category, which is much more highly valued than explorers or developers are typically in the public markets. And we're on the precipice of being there in the next few months. And then as well, we are going to continue to put out great exploration news. Silver Kings in the near term, because we're drilling there right now, and then of course we do intend to get back and start exploring Bethania as well. We really have left that story untapped since our resource came out early last year, but we've had numerous successes at surface there, expanding our inventory of mineralized silver targets. And we need to go and drill those and start talking about a much bigger mine. So that's another opportunity that we have in the medium to longer term. And then, as I said, in the shorter term, we expect to have really good news out of Silver Kings as we start drilling out our discoveries there.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, David, and we look forward to having you back on with additional updates very soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.